and welcome to the Holy Hour podcast. It's the bi-weekly All Cure podcast and final episode of 2024. We made it, boys. Chaz and Antonio, welcome.
we survived.
Good God. What a year. I'm checking my pulse right now just to make sure I did actually survive. I'm not sure. Is this all a dream? But I think we did. We're here.
I just want this to be 2025 wrap up already. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. It would be a lot easier to be like, finally, we're wrapping the year up. If we'll see. We'll get to predictions at the end here, but let's say hello.
Your prediction or the world prediction?
All the predictions. We're wrapping up the whole world tonight in this episode. So, but yes, this is our end of the year episode. Welcome everybody out there. I'm Gavin. We got Chaz and Antonio here, and we're gonna recap the year in Cure news, highlights, lowlights, and podcast highlights and lowlights, and of course predictions for next year, as this is the final episode of 2024. 26 episodes we've constructed for you guys. Yep, I think so. Yeah, bi-weekly doesn't seem like as many, does it? So
well, we also did like 80 episodes last year because of the concert.
Yeah, so,
that's true. Yeah,
so maybe we were slacking. Who knows? But I felt like there was a lot of obstacles where we could have been.
The Cure also kept us busy.
Yeah. It was a hot and cold year for sure on many fronts, and the Cure in particular, as we'll start with them since they are the real reason why everyone's here.
Real reason for the season.
Yes. But it was a strange year for the Cure in the sense that we came off all the big touring stuff at the end of 2023 with the South American tour ending, and we didn't know what we were going to get into. I think our predictions were leaning towards, all right, 2024 is going to start with some kind of big announcement. They're going to tour Australia and then put out the album in the spring and then tour it again and then put out another album in the fall. I don't think we're that hopeful, but it was on the table. Who knew? And it was starting to look more and more possible that it was going to be a year of silence because it started pretty quiet.
It did.
And we were all like, oh no, this is going to be what we joked about. This is going to be one of those fucking years off where we just don't hear anything. We're going to get like a greatest hits compilation in November and that's going to be it or some shit. Because it was definitely headed that way. But let's see, what was the first highlight of the year? We'll work our way back up from the list I sent you guys. But Paris came out as a reissue in March. So that was the first like, what? What is this? And that kind of popped up as a reissue on vinyl, which everybody got excited about because that was of the era of hard to get that one on vinyl, 92, so nobody was really cranking out the vinyl at that point. So this one was getting the CD reissue treatment too, and they threw 2 extra tracks on. The Cure's always looking out for us, giving us a extra reason to buy it and get excited all again. Remastered and pretty fucking cool. I'm still like now in hindsight a little odd that they didn't do this for show though. And now kind of the ship has sailed where it's like, oh yeah, why didn't they like remaster show at least if for streaming or something, or put out a double CD, So it's kind of odd that Paris was the one that got the special treatment, but show didn't. But I think most fans are kind of happier anyway, because Paris was always kind of the more for the fans of the 2 live ones anyway, They
could have released them together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, of all the couldas and shouldas, it's still odd that we don't really have a clear remix of just the video of show, the live concert, even if it was just for the YouTube channel or something, would be
Maybe
nice.
Robert doesn't like it.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
I also wonder with that stuff sometimes. I also wonder sometimes with that stuff too. It's like, do they still have all the files? Could something have been like that? Was there something in the contract about doing it that it can't be redone? There's so much when it comes to that shit that we just don't.
And that one always had the weird sub note of, I don't remember what the full details were something with the transferring of the the film, it wasn't like on the right. I don't know. There was some issue of them, like how it got recorded was some way that they weren't happy with. So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying that it might have just been like they dug into those files and even trying to clean them up. If you couldn't make it great, then why don't bother.
Yeah. Or it was just more trouble than it's worth. So. But yeah, on the happier side and grateful side, I guess everybody was really happy with Paris. I'm happy to have it on vinyl, and it's cool that it's out there. Those 2 songs were nice. They weren't anything earth-shattering, Shake Dog Shake and Hot Hot Hot. I think, yeah, cool. but very good. As far as the checklist of Cure shit that needs to get reshuffled and re-released, that was cool, So I'd be curious to see what that's going for now, too, as far as these things re-popping up if you didn't snag it then,
Yeah.
I've just always kind of made it a mental note to try to grab anything like that when I can, because, but there is always the wonder is like, well, if I just wait, would it be like cheaper now or even possible to grab it? I don't even know.
Yeah, funny that you said that, because during the year when we did discuss one of the other things that came out, being the top picture vinyl, I was like, well, I was like, I'm gonna probably skip it because it's my least favorite of their records. And like exactly what I said was, I'll wait till I can find it used cheap.
Yeah.
Literally on Sunday, Elvis calls me because he went to the record store without me and was like, Dad, they have it, $10 used, fine condition. Do you want it? And I'm like, yep, that's exactly what I was waiting for. Like, shit, I'm down with completing my collection, but I was not going out record store day and spending all this money on it when I'm like, but now I can put it with the other picture discs just from a collectible standpoint.
As it should be. Yeah. So I think these kind of things are like, if you want to freak out and grab it immediately and be safe, cool. But yeah, it's nice when you can just grab something that's marked down like that. I had that luck last weekend doing holiday shopping around town and went into a thrift store, and it was just like old used CDs I got excited and found. But I found it's like a record store day. Think of like a live, like 8-song Lemonheads thing from the punkier era. It was like a record store thing that I didn't care to go wait in the line and pay too much for. But like 4 years ago, baby, and now it was $10, and I was like, sweet, okay, this is I'm buying for $10. So I had that luck.
$10, sign me up. That's the sweet spot right there.
Yeah, which is more expected than a Cure one, But so yeah, good to hear. So keep your eyes and ears and all that peeled out there. I guess it is possible then, perhaps.
If you missed out on some of the, like, I'm finding more and more that record store day stuff you can always get later.
Yeah, maybe those in particular, those probably over like the official Paris reissues and stuff. You are probably more, because they probably just order a bunch to like be like, oh, we better just have them for record store day, So speaking of that was second on the list, was the April reissue picture disc of the Top. So like Antonio, I also skipped that one. You, Chaz, did you go wait in line for the Top picture disc?
I was there first person at 3 a.m.
Yeah, you're like, wow, what a hypocrite. Just so you can bitch about how the album doesn't hold up.
I just complained to everyone in line.
They're like, this album's not even that great.
I'm still going to buy it.
Out of my way. Look, the color on the picture disc doesn't even match the color of the actual record. It's off. That red is a little bit off in that book.
I still haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, so kind of figure at that point, because it feels like the picture disc thing has gotten kind of scattered now too. There's some holes in there. Right? Some of the shit they've put out hasn't come out.
They skipped over other things that you'd assume when they were hitting anniversaries for. You're like, what?
Yeah, so who knows? But oh well. So after that, I had noted that Robert did make 2 new art pieces for the Heart Research, which he's been doing pretty frequently now. So I think this was the one I only made note of it because it still had, it was the one for like Alone and something else. And I think it was only newsworthy in the sense it was like, cool, one, Robert making artwork. And then 2, it was like, had the lyrics for Alone and something else. And when it came out, it said from forthcoming album. Because at this point, we're all like, is the fucking album getting scrapped or what? Because is this it? So it was like a little bit more of a glint of hope that this thing was at least in their minds still coming out at some point soon, eventually. So it kind of brought a little slight pulse back into the talk of the album coming out. But so congrats to everybody that got some original Robert Smith artwork and helped out a good charity. So I don't think it's in any budget, but whoever out there has them, good on you for that. Big news came after that, and this was the one that really got everybody pumped up, was the acoustic streaming album. This I think everybody collectively eyes rolled pretty hard on this one. Just like, why are we making big news out of this? It was like
out of things on my bingo card I didn't really need. That was on it. I was like,
and it wasn't like re-released, right? It was only the streaming, so it wasn't even like they were putting out a picture disc of that on vinyl or anything. It was
with like some other acoustic songs that didn't make it, maybe, you know. Then I'd be like, okay, you know. Like,
but they were like kind of prepping it for a little while and counting down, putting out like single almost of like a little promo of the live things that were used to be on the Greatest Hits DVD, you know, that we all had seen anyway if we had been around long enough. And like, so yeah, that was weird because it was like, here's an acoustic one and it's going to be on streaming for the first time. And I was kind of like, it wasn't already on streaming? Okay. But the cool thing with that one was that they did that kind of, call out to fans to do the video challenge and put an acoustic cover, and then they would post it on their little acoustic wall on the official Cure site. So that was cool, even though it was a little hard to get to that site unless you were specifically looking for it. It wasn't like it was if you go to cure.com or whatever, it popped up, you know, you had to like go there, then go to media, and then go to another folder that was like obsessive fans covering the Cure or whatever. So pretty cool. I think it's still up. I don't know, I haven't looked in a while, but it was cool. Henson did one that was fun to record him, to have a reason to set up the mic and record his coverage just like Kevin. So that was pretty fun to get excited. Cool. That one got posted on the wall. So that one was like, all right, we're by July at this point, so it's starting to, everyone's throats are getting dry for some Cured stuff, and we're like, really, is this what we're doing this year? Okay. And then it went into September, so we're starting to get into September, and we got the big news of Roger his cancer update, which was kind of initially like, at first, and didn't sound good because he kind of told us the whole background on everything, but ended on a positive note of the prognosis is looking good now, and he's responding to all the treatment, feeling great, because we hadn't really heard much, and we'd kind of assumed that it was something like this, but maybe not using the words aggressive cancer and blood, you know. So I mean, it sounded way worse than we wanted it to, for sure. And but yeah, so good news that it was all, you know, sounding like it's on the right path. You never totally out of the woods with that shit, you know. So fingers crossed that it still keeps continuing to go that way. And by seeing him on the later live performances performing, it's looking great. Sounded good on that interview that will come later too. And so hopefully we can all just push that aside for now, and he can get on with things. And so that was great news, but it almost seemed to also open the doors for now. It seemed like in hindsight, we're like, okay, now they're going to talk about the new album. You know, it almost seems like, which sounds shitty, but at the same time, it seemed like they were almost waiting for that clear because they didn't want to release the doom and gloom death album while their keyboardist is battling for his life and, you know, cancer therapy and stuff. So I think that was kind of the first step, in a sense. I would almost credit that as like the first part of the promo plan of like, here comes the new album, because it wasn't long after that we started to get the first glimpse. Oh no, actually before any new album stuff, we had the announcement and pre-sale of the November live France 12-inch single that we all jumped up for. We're like, shit, okay, this is it. This is the only version of the album we're getting, so we better buy this thing.
Yep, I bought it. I got suckered into it.
Yeah, I bought it. I love it. It looks great. I've played it maybe 4 times, but it definitely got overshadowed. I think it would have gotten a lot more attention had it been the only thing that came out this year, but it was like almost right on the heels of that. You know, again, for a good cause. It was all eco-friendly. It was a whole kind of thing that they were trying to do the right thing, putting this live thing out, but at the same time, like I said, it got overshadowed, and it was a bit costly for what it was, for sure. So it was like, yeah,
we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, so at this point, it's just another neat collectible thing, which again will be, you know, interesting to Google that to see what it's going for if people are reselling that. You know, maybe not now, but in the next year or so, just to see how ridiculous or cheap it gets. It could really go either way, I guess. It was pretty limited. I forget how many they did. They're all actually numbered and stuff, so that was kind of cool seeing everybody posting pictures of their number of what vinyl they got. And people would be like, cool. I'm out here in St. Louis and I got the one right before yours and stuff like that, you know. So it's like if you knew the person that got the one before yours, that was kind of cool. So yeah, pretty cool, and it did sound great, and you know, it's awesome to have those live ones. And even with the live stuff that's been released since the album, we haven't had any other France ones, so it's been cool that they're not just rehashing the live shit that is being, you know, if they were all coming from the same show, like they all were just like San Francisco or the Troxy, just rehashed on every single or whatever limited edition thing. And then there's like, oh wait, the B-side is still the same. Because I've had that with bands too, especially the old CD single days where it was just like a live song is the B-side, and then you get another single and it's the live song from the same show or the exact same song even. It's just like, oh man, you're really milking this one, guys. Yeah. So yeah, pretty cool, I guess. And then we started to get the official promo of the space rock. You know, we won't go through the whole step by step with that again. We've documented that pretty good, and I think it's all fresh in our minds. But the hype was great. You know, I think looking back now, we could all say that was pretty fun, that it was kicked off with just a little nugget here and there, and deciphering Roman numerals and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, that. God, if I have to put that Roman numeral in one more time. And we walked past the tattoo place getting dinner for Henson's birthday tonight, and we're joking. I was like, tonight's the night, let's all get tattoos, Henson. And he's like, yeah, we should get November 1st for the cure. I'm like, I don't know, I think that ship's kind of sailed now. I like the idea still, but I don't know if I'll be like, why the hell did I get November 1st? Oh, right, the cure album came out. So that was awesome, and they definitely did a good job, especially for an older legacy band that could have totally just put the damn thing out and coasted by, and it probably, would have been fine just to be like, bam, here it is, finally. Take the fucking album, Yeah, but like it was kind of cool, like the billboards popping up in the cities and like this like little just trail. I almost wish they would have taken it a step further and done like a scavenger hunt or something, because it's like it kind of felt like that, like,
totally,
you have to like decipher these like cryptic messages to get to the next one,
Yeah, I would have loved to see like the board meeting, whatever scale it was, of people just sitting around laughing about how like further the Cure fans were gonna go, like in their minds of all of it, like how contrived it was to kind of fuck with us in a bit, like putting the poster up outside of the railway / rocket and stuff, we're all like, they're gonna play a show there, and the postcards in particular, it's just like, which still never really made any sense of what the fuck they were or anything. It was just kind of totally random, and it wasn't a secret Wonka ticket. It wasn't a super collectible thing that was only going to obvious people. Still felt totally random, and like, definitely more biz oriented, I think was safe to say by the end. But yeah, that was great. And just the billboards, and once those started popping up, we could all like take a sigh of relief that it seemed more official and it wasn't just bullshit. Because there was even like a few weeks in there where it felt like it could have been just like somebody fucking with all of us, or something, or what it was. We didn't even know, we figured it was the new album, but it could have just been like the Troxy thing live. That's all we're getting, who knows? But so yeah, that was pretty rad. And Alone, the first single, comes out September 26th. First not official single, but first new song, I guess, in 16 years. So as we get into single talk, I don't know, are we counting Alone as the single even? I don't.
What?
Because nobody ever really said it.
It's like the first release, so it's like, does that make it?
Yeah. It was just kind of the advanced track more, I think, but nobody really called it either way. And then they put the 7-inch out later for Fragile Thing as the single, so I kind of feel like that was the single, and Alone was, just an advanced track, but it was kind of the default single in a sense, because it was, everybody jumped on it. It was the first thing in 16 years. Of course, we're gonna make a big deal out of it, So we'll say honorary single, why not? And and it was joyous. Everybody freaked out and listened, and lots of weird release times on all the songs like that. I forget what that one was. Was it the 4 o'clock German time or something?
I don't even remember. That's a good.
I remember waking up.
Question.
I think that was a British time one because I listened to it in bed. Like
September 26th, 2024. It is considered a single on the Wikipedia page. So,
okay.
Yeah, that and a Fragile Thing.
Wikipedia's never wrong. So.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, definitely.
But we'll take it. Somebody wrote it in. Why not? So yeah, 2 singles, I guess. Yeah, pretty cool. Definitely big news. We'd all heard the song a billion times live, so it was more of the factor of don't fuck it up, hope it holds up, hope it sounds good, and sure enough, I think it got at least the thumbs up from all three of us here. So pretty rad. Of course, September 27th is when my whole town here got devastated, so that kind of ruined the joyous occasion for me anyway. It's like, oh, what the fuck? So all through the big month of October, was kind of just holding out hope for this album and dealing with the other bullshit. But so yeah, a weird wrinkle that definitely got attached to the album for me. But we're not talking about me here. Let's talk about what came next. I think it was For the Fragile Thing was the next streaming and official single that came out fairly shortly after. It was like 2 weeks maybe or something. Did you have that date still pulled up? Well, yeah,
so it's like a week and a half maybe?
Yeah, so that was kind of weird almost, where I was like, which kind of made me feel like Alone wasn't official single in that regards too, because they put the other one out so fast. But I guess all rules are off the table at this point. Who knows? But
we thought we were gonna get a song like every 2 weeks until the album came out.
Yeah, they're just gonna give us. It's like they know it's only 8 songs. How many fucking? Here's your one song already. You haven't heard. Yeah. But yeah. So that one was cool too, because I believe with the Fragile Thing release, they put out the hour and 45-minute long interview, the Abbey Road interview Robert did, and that was awesome, and almost, I keep saying, as much of a gift as the album, really, because it was great just hearing him really talking kind of casually and covering a lot of shit that we had questions about, the whole kind of track by track of the album and the background of the album, the Ticketmaster debacle, future plans for the band, even all that stuff was great, that he kind of just laid it out there for us all, and we loved it. So that was cool. And so yeah, then we got the official album. Oh no, I guess the day of, before the album, was when we had the 2 BBC shows, the small radio shows on the 29th, and they had little Robert interviews with them. And then, of course, the official album launch show on the day of the album release, November 1st, where they played at the Troxy and played an awesome show of the whole album in sequence. And then, you know, like a pretty much condensed regular Cure set right after that. So lots of cool stories circulating out there. People that were able to make it into the show. All of these were, you know, pretty tough to get into. So pretty rad to anyone that got into those. Mm-hmm. Even in those little interviews beforehand, we got some good nuggets about Robert's pet sheep, among other things, which was cool to learn about. And listening back to that recently, even I still feel like he was like really wanting to talk about his sheep, and she kind of was like, okay, and just like moved on, you know? Like,
I think I kind of like, I'm gonna pitch this here to BBC. Like, we need a reality show of like Robert taking care of his sheep.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Or just like a special, you know, like those little, like here it would be like a 60-minute segment on Robert Smith, at home with Robert Smith. I'm sure there's like some BBC News thing where they just like following him around, like that Sunday morning show that's probably still on here, you know, or they're like, today we're following around musician Robert Smith. And he's like, these are my sheep. Hello. But it drove me crazy. She didn't ask like their names and stuff, you know? I want to know more about the sheep. Like, what's the deal? How long has he had them? You know, what tricks did they do? He said he could teach them things. Like,
yeah, like what are their names? What are they? Yeah.
I think she thought he was like fucking with her or something, so she just kind of wanted to abandon like the topic really quick. She's like, "That's great. Okay, so the album." Yeah. I was like, "No, stay on the sheep. Stay on the sheep."
And then Robert takes off his wig and reveals that he actually is just a sheep. He's trained him that well.
Oh God!
Oh my God! Could happen, but so yeah, all that was piled on to release day. So at this point, people either had gotten the album in advance or listened to it, were able to stream it. Shortly after that, we started getting actual physical copies of the album showing up, and you know, whatever the hell billion formats, we definitely had plenty of opportunities and choices, so no shortage there of us griping. I wish I could have gotten it on cassette. I wish I could have gotten it on marble vinyl. So
I wanted a laser disc.
Yeah, everything but laser disc. Everything but those tiny CDs. I think they got. So, wow, but yeah, and then we all just dove in, and I think we're still diving in. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been giving it little breaks here and there finally. I'm like, all right, I got to put another fucking album in. I can't just... Are your families tolerating it still? Have they been... Like, are we really listening to this fucking album again, or is everybody cool with it still?
I usually don't listen to music around unless we're in the car.
Yeah.
I usually listen to it in my own, like, headphones or something.
Yeah.
So I don't usually annoy too many people with it, but yeah, I've taken breaks. There hasn't been all the way through. So
constant.
Like
I'll do a lot of but because of how much I did play it, like Spotify's algorithm has like at least one of the songs from that record in every mix it makes me.
Yeah.
You know, and like and you know it has like a thing called DJX where it just curates like a DJ, like a fake DJ for you that plays a lot of it, you know, like off of it. So I still get it, but I'm not listening to it like from front to back as much. But I also, you know, just in like as the year's wrapping up, like going back to some of the albums that did drop this year. So I've been listening to some other stuff too, just in my like conversations with people about like their favorite record of the year and stuff. So you know it's given a little time to breathe because you know there was a good amount of music that came out this year. So
definitely get into that.
It was funny. I saw one of my friends that's not even a Cure fan post something about the drones in New Jersey and put drone no drone as
that's
the
cool
song in it.
Well, because I feel like
if
people just search drone, you know, like in it, like if to pick a song out, you know, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect time, I guess.
Perfect time.
Yeah, for real. Robert was like, I told you, God. Actually, this is the way they're going to announce a tour next year. Those drones are all going to be like, just kidding. The Cure is coming.
Form into a giant, the Cure World Tour.
Yeah.
Giant stadium.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they're flying over Giant Stadium.
Giant Stadium 2025.
But yeah, we everyone's been tolerant here. We always have music playing, so I'm trying to shuffle it out too and not have it. But more of the kind of comments like, "Oh, this is new," or "Haven't heard this song before." That's kind of not like.
Oh
turn
wait,
this off.
Is this off the Cure's new album?
Yeah. Oh, what's this one? All right. But lots of that. So then we got the official single of Fragile Thing on 7-inch, which was cool. Just because we're all like, well, are they going to put any of these out as like a tangible single? If any of them are actual singles, what are we doing? So
yeah, still wish I would have picked a different song, but
yeah. Well, I guess that proposes then whether or not Alone counts. Do you think there'll be another one, or are they done with the single cycle, or are we going back to one song kind of single albums the way it was in the early days? So I don't really see what else they would put out that would like further the album after the holidays or anything. Maybe, I don't know. Hard to say.
Yeah, I feel like the days of like focusing on that, especially for radio play, are over. Because I mean, let's be honest, after that single, it, time of year wise, we went straight into hearing fucking Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Yeah. So it's like, you're not going to dominate any kind of radio right now when it's like holiday. So
yeah, it wouldn't be till like January at least, So maybe if Drone No Drone thing takes off,
I know, drones, right? Yeah.
Maybe that's the best. I mean, that's all kind of really the most single-ish one anyway, So it'd be kind of, I can't really see them putting like I Could Never Say Goodbye out as a single. so yeah, I don't know, probably not. I think it would just kind of remain out there where people know about it or don't, so. But interesting to think. We had the highlight for The Cure in the sense of all the chart success, so that was cool. With number 1 on the UK sales charts, number 4 on the top 200 Billboard charts in the US. We also got number 1 in sales, number 1 in alternative, number 1 in rock. And I think there was an actual number 1 rock and alternative as a single category. All of which was, I'm assuming for a minute, I still haven't backtracked to see if I'm assuming they just drop immediately as chart things tend to do, but whatever. They got the number 1, so they can put that on the little stickers now when they reissue it. Number 1 album. And so pretty cool. And just great that everyone, as you heard in our last episode, critical praise pretty much across the board from the press, and most Cure fans didn't have too much complaints with the album. So, after all these years of waiting, a successful album. So successful that they put out the live version. Like what? 2 months later, a month later, which is kind of weird. I don't know if they even ever have done anything like that, where you put out a full live version of the album almost immediately after, all for charity. Pretty cool. It sounds great. I don't know. It was nice that it popped up on streaming. Have you guys given the streaming a go for the Troxy?
Yes,
no.
That I did.
Yeah. It sounds great. It's a great mix.
It really does. Yeah.
And even if you just played the YouTube live, it would be good. But I feel like this was definitely, all you would hope for. And initially, I was kind of like laughing, like, oh, there's no shortage of live Cure shit, in a sense. But like, I don't know. I kind of like having this as a live thing too, as just a little companion part of it. One, just for when I do start to get a little fatigued from the studio album, bouncing to that live one now, it almost feels just different enough where, I can listen to it. And and I like that because we kind of grew to love those songs live. that now we have like an official live copy too. I think it's kind of cool. I'm glad, like we said in the last episode, budget wise, it's a little tight to be ordering 4 more copies of a whole nother thing right now because we just did that and it's the holiday season. And so any of your minds changed on that, or any tip-offs that anybody's hooking you up with the Troxy? Where do you land on that?
As far as getting it?
Yeah.
I mean, if Santa drops it off, that's about it.
Yeah. You won't turn it away, though?
No, I definitely won't turn it away, but yeah.
Yeah, I've been monitoring some pricing on eBay. And I'm like, you know what? On the right day at the right price, I'll be like, you know what? Yes.
Yeah. It didn't sell out or anything yet, did it? I don't feel like I saw any.
I know of.
Yeah.
Did it?
I'd be curious to know how that sells, just because of the timing and the price and all that.
Yeah.
And then they put out the red version of the actual album, which I thought was available at the time of the Troxy one, but I think it was like a couple weeks later or something. I remember getting a weird email saying it's now available. I was like, oh, I thought that already was, but
yeah.
It looks fucking awesome, but yeah, I don't need the red one unless, like you said, it just magically appears in my hands. I won't turn it away, but it's
yeah. Cool. Well, it's also one of those things with, like, at least if I get it secondhand on eBay, even if it's not open, it's still cheaper than buying it from the web store and paying all that shipping to New York.
Yeah, that's so much the problem with all this stuff is like, all right, you can kind of like get it as the listed price, but then the shipping on top of it, and then it's like, oh man, I don't know.
That's the shipping is killer. So.
Yeah. And it's just, whether it's a fucking T-shirt or definitely records, and it's all that stuff. So, but I'm glad it's there. I'm definitely glad it's on streaming. That definitely helps. If you get the full collection bug or just want to hear it, and it's cool that it's on there. I wish they would have put the whole thing. But I get why they didn't, but at the same time, it would have been cool to have the non-Songs of a Lost World tracks on it too, especially the fucked up Friday I'm in Love. That would have been great to have that just forever. But, yeah, so, I think the video is going to stick around at least for a while. Didn't seem like they're taking that off of YouTube. So pretty cool if anybody hasn't seen that. And that brings us pretty much up to date with the last round of things since our last episode that have come out from The Cure this year. Has just been a batch of new interviews. And he did the Tim Burgess live stream, like listening party kind of thing where they go track by track. And he had a lot of cool little nuggets in there. And I'll probably do a little quickie Patreon on that if I get time before our holiday travels, because there were funny little, not to be redundant, but he did answer some of our questions just for you guys there, where he said there are little nuggets he dropped in there to reference old Cure stuff. Like the harmonium was definitely a nod to Untitled, he said. Yeah, sure. And he said he actually used sounds from old keyboards like the Emulator 2 and stuff, was bringing up from like Disintegration keyboard sounds to use on tracks, just kind of subconsciously, if nothing else, like, and Nothing Is Forever has like songs that, synth sounds and stuff that they've used on other albums. And so that was kind of cool that it was intentional and, just getting him to admit it. He said he asked him, he was like, what's with your voice? Why does it hold up so good? And Robert wasn't fessing up to any, like, he was like, I don't know, it's just genes. He said that he has, if anything, he's not taking care of himself over the years. He's like, but yeah, he says he's just lucked out. He kind of credited it to not, smoking. He said a little when he was younger, but not much in, quitting that early on. When a lot of these guys do have voices that shit out by this age, it's because they were heavy smokers. So, so yeah, it was, just a nice, cool track by track, and elaborating, and like all these. I haven't listened to the other two, like we were saying before we record this. There's a real long one with John Kennedy. Actually, I did listen to this one since recording this episode with the fellas, and I highly recommend it. It's another track by track, so I wasn't really expecting too much new information from it, but Robert really kind gets into detail on side tangents and further details on the songs and lots of cool side stories. So I highly recommend checking that one out. It's about an hour and a half long, so another very cool, almost on par with the Abbey Road interview. And I think I am going to try to do a little quickie review of that and hit on some of the highlights in a Patreon. So go on over to Patreon, check it out. If I get to it, I'll make it free again for everybody. So go on over to Patreon and check it out. Okay, let's get back to what we were talking about. But yeah, that was pretty much where we're at with Cure stuff, unless they drop something in the last week here of December. I think that's the Cure's year in a nutshell. The final numbers where they played 3 live shows. They released 1 new album. They released 1 new live album. They released 1 official tangible single, but possibly 2 singles, and a handful of long, nice interviews with Robert. So pretty good. I'd say very productive Cure year by their standards, as we've done these every year for the last almost 10 years now. And the funny part is that like 90% of all this came from like November on. So
yeah, really.
It was like 10 months of questionable content, and then we got flooded with Cure shit. So we'll take it, however format, right? So would you say a successful year for the band then?
I mean, back-to-back successful years. So I mean,
2023 powerhouse tour year. That was fucking great. And
the only thing was missing was a tour.
Yeah, and they hit it so hard in 2023. I don't think anybody was like,
I didn't expect them to do back-to-back years on that. At their age.
Yeah. So cool that they played a few shows just so it wasn't like a totally liveless year, and the fact that
but also, hearing about, Roger's Cancer too, it's like you weren't going to tour with that going on. I mean, I guess they could have had someone else.
Yeah.
But,
why beat it to death at that point? Yeah. So.
Well, and I figure they have to be waiting, on a tour because they're gonna give us 27 different versions of all the merch on the tour.
So.
Exclusive tour vinyl, a different record for every show. Gotta collect them all.
Yeah, it definitely took a strong turn that way. I think at one point before the album, we were like, I wonder what kind of format choices we'll have. We were thinking it was going to go pretty bare minimal even. It's like, oh boy, sure, I hope they sure put it out on CD. I was like, I hope they didn't forget about me being a CD fan.
Yeah.
It was like, no, we had plenty of choices, like we said.
Like, could you imagine if on Black Friday Record Store Day they were like, and here's the picture vinyl?
Yeah.
I would have been like, guys, at least save it for a couple years down the road for Record Store Day.
Yeah, because they had already done the picture vinyl, was the Spotify thing, right? Wasn't that the picture disc? So, yeah, they were already fucking tapped out on that. So, thank God they didn't have some extra version. They probably should have just saved one of them for Record Store Day or whatever. But
yeah, you probably could have.
But fucking Record Store Day on Black Friday, has that always been a thing?
That's more. I mean, not always.
Years. God. I know. Restrained from griping too much, but it's like, really, Black Store Record Store Day, same thing, Black Friday. Yeah. It's like, I mean, it's kind of funny that it's the Lord. Yeah, it's synced up and become the same monster is actually kind of fitting, really, But so yeah, aside from any Cure talk, should we segue on then?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, so Holy Hour talk. We'll keep this short and sweet because it always feels a little more self-glorifying. I guess we can bash on ourselves too if we want, but we pretty much let the cat out of the bag with all the Spotify facts last episode there, but it was nice to see that apparently our followers are up, and so that's good. And 60% of listeners were new this year. Our top episode was the Alone episode, and when we recapped all the promotions. So that was nice. 42 different countries streamed the podcast this year. We were the top 10 podcast for 407 people, top 5 for 208. And we were the number 1 podcast for 90 nice people out there that have incredible taste in podcasts. I don't know if those are actual bragging kind of numbers, but to me that's a lot, so I'll take them. Yeah. Most people would be like, don't say the numbers out loud on your podcast. I don't know. I think that's great. If we were 90 people's top podcast, that's pretty good. I felt like it was a successful year. We covered the bases well. We kept stirring the pot during the dry times when we had nothing but nothing to do. And once the news hit, hopefully we kept on top of it and kept the fans happy out there. So as far as other cool milestone things, Japanese Whispers, because we didn't quite get to it at the end of 2023. We did a Japanese Whispers and top 40th anniversary episodes. So it was nice to pay our respects to those albums, and just was kind of humorous that it also fell that not only the top anniversary, but we had self-titled anniversary this year with the 20th anniversary. Ooh. So I put you guys through the ringer this year. Thanks for being such good sports.
Always.
Having to celebrate the top and self-titled together. And hopefully we got to look at it in slightly new eyes, but I don't know if anyone's opinions really changed on either of those. But let's see, what else did we do this year? We apparently got a mention in a new Italian reference book bio. I'm not quite sure because I can't read it, but looks like a good book. It's called Close to Robert Smith by Federico Francisco Falco, and it's out there for sale. Any Italian speaking or able to read in Italian, go for it. But apparently they mentioned the Holy Hour in that. So thank you.
Well, I have been studying Italian on Duolingo on my phone. So, another probably 7 years and I'll be able to read the book.
There you go.
It's a gabagool.
Let's get you the book. You can skim it until you see Holy Hour and then read around that part and try to decipher it for us. But it seemed like it was positive since he told me about it. So hopefully it wasn't just like, if you want to check out a shitty podcast about the Cure. It's like, hey. But I think it was nice. So thank you out there. And I don't know. We did some fun, weird ones. The Cure Awards were a fun way to kick off the year when it was during a dry time. We did our first.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, we definitely got to do that again.
Yeah. So when it comes, because I think the Grammys have been announced. I don't know if the Cure missed the cutoff for that or what, but I don't think they're nominated for anything. Thank God.
They don't need that bullshit.
Nah, I would feel almost grosser or more offended if they did win or were nominated, So yeah, man, we'll do Cure Awards again. I like the Bunny Lake one, even though that was one where I just was gradually chipping away at some weird research on my own. It was fun to finally get to the bottom of what the fuck that was all about. I feel like solved the case there. The tattoos one was fun. That was cool to hear from everybody in their Cure tattoo stories. Misinterpreted lyrics too is always fun. Got some good new misinterpreted lyrics. And then of course all the album build up, despite the hurricane shit going on my end. It was fun to be a part of all that and see it unfold. Did you guys have any favorite or least favorite episodes this year from ourselves?
The awards show is definitely up there for me. I really enjoyed that one. And the Halloween episode with Scott, the Cure Hell was good to get like a purposeful good laugh and terror, as opposed to us being terrified of just real life things happening with the Cure. So
true. That was a fun one.
I think my favorite one was the tattoo one. Just seemed like we got a lot of responses and a lot of good back and forth with people. So that was
cool. Getting responses from people is definitely awesome.
Yeah, so we should definitely revisit that one soon. I already have a few on a standby email waiting to go for the next round. Nice. So it'll be like the covers ones where we can just constantly do a Cure Tattoos episode. I think it's hard without the visual, but we can make it work like we do. Just have to really describe everything. So yeah, those are all fun ones. What else did we get? Just thanks to everybody in general that we had on a show as official guest, of course, and then the contribution ones is always nice when we throw something out, because you never really know if we're not going to hear back from anybody or we get a nice flood of them. So usually they pile up a lot quicker now than they used to in the old days. So that's really appreciated. So thanks to everybody out there that not only recorded something or wrote in an email or anything, or even just posted on some kind of social media or some of that bullshit. So yeah, a lot of good contact with you guys out there. So
yes, thank you very, very much.
Yeah, I think the listeners have really been awesome in these later years of the podcast, because it's become more of a crutch, and feel like we're bouncing ideas off of you instead of just throwing shit at out the wind there. So well, speaking of which, that is pretty rad, because as we go into the predictions of next year, because technically next year is going to be the 10th anniversary year. Donald and I started this fucking thing in August of 2015. Yeah.
Wow.
August 17th, 2015. So
that's crazy.
Next year will be 10 years. That first stretch through 2015 was definitely pretty sporadic, where I think I only put like one out every month, maybe. It was definitely not every other week, and then it didn't get more official till 2016, January 2016. So, but we'll count it. 10-year anniversary in August. What do you say? You guys want to celebrate? We'll have another reason to another anniversary.
Only if we get to dress up.
Yeah, we're always up for that. So that'll be fun. And yeah, so 2025, what do we have to look forward to, guys? I think it's going to be an action-packed year.
Oh, yeah. I'm just looking to survive.
But as far as the Cure and podcast, we'll focus our energy on that. So yeah, Robert said fall 2025. How serious do we take that, you think? World tour? Maybe it just starts in the UK again, like 2022 did.
It's going to be something. I mean, I think it's going to be a tour. It's definitely not going to. I don't think it's going to be over here. To start off, not in the fall. Probably, maybe Australia again.
Yeah.
And maybe at least a festival in the US over the summer, because there are a lot of them. Although most of them have actually announced their lineups already.
Yeah, and he said that he passed on them already. He said that's why he wanted to focus.
That's right. Yeah.
There could be some late fall festivals too. You got Riot Fest could happen. I'm trying to think what else happens in like the early fall, late fall time, or mostly early fall, because it's over by then. So, but
I could see, because it went pretty damn smooth. It seems like from the last round that he would do it almost the same pattern of starting in the UK for 2025, then have it bleed into North America in 2026 again, and then have that be like and then of course, like you're saying, throw Australia in there, because they're the ones
probably
that have
Japan.
They've definitely been hurting the most ever since the disintegration anniversary. Where
I don't want to hear about it, Gavin. They got they got disintegration. That's got to count for like
I know. So,
how many concerts?
But they've had their punishment now, right? It's like we're all like, damn them, they're the only ones that got it. And then if you think about it, they haven't had anything since that was like fucking 2019, right? So yeah, they need it. I want Australia to get a good show, so hopefully they can pop over there and then kick it off in Europe, then hit us up. And I'd rather them tour over here in the spring too. I don't know. I wouldn't want them to start here in the fall where it's all cold and shit and stuff.
Yeah, that would not be fun.
Hopefully it would be spring, but I'll take it either way. So yeah, at that point too, what are they touring though? Like, are they doing another Songs of a Lost World tour? Are they just doing wherever the fuck they want? Or album number 2 is this thing. I mean, technically this thing could come out in the summer, maybe beginning of fall. We're back where we started, I know.
I'm just curious, like, I'm just thinking in my head though, would they drop another album before doing a tour after the album came out, or are they like, well, we toured so much before it and played 5 of the songs,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't see them like doing that pattern again where they tour before the album. So I almost feel like they would drop something before it, or at least during the tour. But I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of a
people
weird
are acting
thing
like there's another album.
Yeah, I guess that's the first.
Well, I mean, I'm starting to believe him a little bit more. I mean, that BBC interview was like made me kind of have faith in him a little bit more, and it was like probably one of my favorite things about this year was that interview. Like,
yeah,
just such a like raw, like honest Robert Smith was like, it was different to hear. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. And it makes sense if they recorded it when they recorded it, and a lot of them are probably songs that he pulled from Songs of a Lost World, then it should be pretty fucking ready to go, and it's just a matter of when they want to release it and what they want to do with it, so
yeah,
they almost don't want to crowd the other album, which is funny because you see people bitching about that on Facebook. They're like, I hope he doesn't put it out too fast because I'm still really enjoying this album. I'm like,
yeah, it's like, doesn't
no
mean
matter the scenario,
yeah.
I'm sure you're gonna have plenty of fucking. Even if he's like tomorrow, like we got to put this out, it's still gonna be like 2 fucking years.
Yeah,
probably.
if I wake up Christmas morning and there's a new album, I
can't imagine he's breaking the 4-year rule at least. There's going to be at least 4 years now before the next one. But who knows? He's full of surprises in his old age. Who knows?
That is true.
But so yeah, I mean, maybe it could be something like that. He was calling that second album a companion piece too. So maybe it's one that they would just kind of put out and then, not necessarily call it a tour for that album, but, it'd be something to kind of promote while doing just another full-on Cure tour, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. Definitely wouldn't count on album 3 anytime next year or anytime soon. I think that one's pretty far off still. One thing I think we definitely will get next year, because he kind of mentioned it in passing and nobody's really dwelled on it that much, is he said there's a collaboration he did with a artist already that's been recorded, another like Churches or Gorillas kind of thing, but he didn't want to disclose who it was because it's their thing to announce.
Their release.
So, but it sounded like that was pretty much done, and I can't imagine a band would want to sit on a cool collaboration with Robert Smith for over a year. So next year we should get hopefully cool, some kind of collaboration. So I don't think the 3 of us have ever done the official all the collaborations episode, so maybe we'll lump that in with a feature on collaborations, even though we've talked about them plenty in passing. So, but I think we'll definitely get that. And as far as the anniversaries, we all can rest easy knowing that we get better luck this year with the 40th anniversary of Head on the Door. So that'll be the 40th. So we'll have to do, and that came out in August. So we'll probably do that around August too, of celebrating one of the Cure's best albums. Maybe my number 2 favorite all-time Cure album, if I had to choose right now. But that'll be fun. So
yeah, that'll be fun for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's a lot to look forward to, right? So it won't all be doom and gloom in 2025. So yeah, lots on the menu, and Robert's gonna throw some bones there. So. And we had a lot of other good music, as Antonio was saying. Do you want to tap on some favorites that are not so Cure related? It's always good to reserve a bit of time in this episode to give some suggestions to the listeners out there, even though I love that all Cure fans, when you step away from the Cure, have pretty widely varying degrees of what they're into and what they're not, but there's always some good crossover too, and have over the years gotten some great suggestions from not only you guys but other listeners out there too. So I think it's just that time of year where you got to share your top favorite albums and all that good stuff. So what do you think, guys? You want to share some? You got your lists ready, your playlist all queued up?
I'm ready.
All right. Why don't you kick it off then, Antonio? What do you have to share with the people out there for the year 2024?
Right. So, I jotted just down like my 10 favorite albums that came out this year, and The Cure was definitely number one. So I'll skip past that quick. We've talked about that enough. But then the rest are in no particular order because then my brain hurt too bad to put them in an order. So it's, this band, Urban Heat, dropped an album this year called The Tower. It's really cool post-punk kind of stuff. They are like Melissa and I kind of discovered them maybe a little bit over a year ago, and they're just like on this like fast track with an amazing live show. Really, really, really good, catchy stuff. So definitely check out Urban Heat.
Cool.
And then Trust just released an album, TR/ST, called Performance, and got to see him perform at Brooklyn Steel in Brooklyn a few weeks ago, and played a bunch of stuff off the new record, and it was absolutely amazing. Again, very like kind of post-punky, like synth-driven stuff. Very, very cool. Some old favorites of mine dropped the record, and they just continue to get better, and they continue to just kick ass even with a slight lineup change. Hot Water Music released Vows this year, which is just a great record. Again, as far as like, dancing on the lines of, punk and, post-hardcore, they've, been one of my favorite bands for, over 20 years. So the fact that they're still putting out records is great. Soft Kill, obviously. Escape Forever. Soft Kill never disappoints. They could literally drop 2 records a year, and they just fill it with bangers. Never letting down. I just feel like every time I say to myself, I'm like, oh, they got really big, it's gonna slow down, and then I'm just seeing more and more shows. They just played a couple shows in Texas, and they were in San Antonio, and a bunch of my friends from work down there went, and I didn't even realize, like, I discover more and more people like closeted Soft Kill fans every single day that I don't expect to like be fans of them, and I'm like, this is fucking awesome. I'm like at like this metal hardcore crazy show, and my buddy Hugo's wearing a Soft Kill sweatshirt, and I'm like, you like Soft Kill? He's like, I love Soft Kill.
Yeah, that's cool. They cross over a lot of
they really do, and that's important. Contra Void dropped a new record this year that was awesome. Touche Amore. And I also got to see them a couple times this year, and they never disappoint. Mill and the Sniffers, Cartoon Darkness, if you like, the kind of fun riot girl, punk kind of stuff. They kick ass. Good old Cold Cave, Passion and Depression, that came out. Really great. Another banger from them. Got to see them in a smaller club on Long Island this year at Amityville Music Hall. Like a couple months ago, and it was like fantastic. And then Frank Turner, Undefeated. Frank Turner is just definitely one of my favorite songwriters. The guy tells stories like really, really well. One of the most high energy performers I've ever seen. Like, it's one of those guys where it's like, if you just bring a friend that's into music to go see Frank Turner, like, they'll leave a fan. It's very hard to like see him live and not be like, damn,
totally won over.
So he's kind of a singer songwriter. So some of the stuff is a little, can be acoustic-y, but he's been doing most of his records and touring with a live band now. So it's like it can get really fun and big and energetic, but then slow and sappy, and he's kind of got punk roots. But has branched out as he's gotten older. But those are my top 10 albums of the year.
Hell yeah, awesome. So go check those out, lovely people out there. Did you make a best of singles yet playlist?
I started putting together a playlist, but then I've just been so jammed with work over the last week. I haven't finished it off.
Before New Year's, get it together. Send it to me. I'll post our playlist singles. How about that? And then you can cover the Spotify. I'll do Apple. Chaz, you got Spotify? I forget what you.
I don't really use anything.
You don't? Yeah.
Yeah. I carry around tapes.
He carries around. He has a Walkman.
Yeah. I have a little tape recorder I hold up to my speaker on my computer, so whenever I want to listen to a song, I play it really loud through my computer and then record it on my
retro.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. As far as I don't have a top 10, but I have a couple albums that I really like this year. Of course, there's Soft Kill. And then there's Drug Church album, Prude, came out. That's really good.
Oh yeah,
enjoying that.
That is another banger.
Yeah, High Viz came out with another album this year. They're a British, I don't even know how you call them. They're from the hardcore scene, but they're punkier, poppier. This last album has a lot more of experimental stuff in it. But it's really, really good. And then there is a band from Norway that I've been into called Flight Mode, and they're a 3-piece, I guess emo-ish band. They kind of sound like, I don't know, Appleseed Cast, early 2000s kind of emo.
Okay.
I really enjoy them a lot. And then the Kendrick Lamar album, GNX, is really fucking good. Yeah, I think that's about it that I can think of.
Cool.
I feel like I'm missing something, but I can't remember. Peace. Alternative rock band from Houston. They're called Narrowhead.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of, I don't know if you guys, kind of grungy, with if you're really into 90s grunge, you'd probably really like them. If you're into the grunge revival bands like Super Heaven or Daisy Head are two of my favorites. They're right up there.
Cool.
So I just been really digging that. Very bass heavy, quieter vocals, but really, really good. So those are the band or things I can recommend. I can't really think of anything else, but
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I definitely don't have a full 10 or anything, but just some of my top ones. Of course, Songs of the Lost World. And probably my favorite that Cure fans would like, and I forgot that it was actually kind of spawned from Cureness, was early in the year. It was during one of those Disintegration sort of tribute things they did on BBC, I think, where they had artists just kind of quickly sing what song off of Disintegration inspired them or something. It was one of those little snippet things, and most of them were the usual, guys from Mogwai and Twilight Sad and the whole usual suspects. But somewhere in there, and I forgot what song it even was and why or what they said, but it was that band New Dad said something that caught my ear, and they sounded pretty cool, and I liked what they said about the Cure, and I made kind of a mental note, check out their shit, because they didn't even really play snippets of their music. They would just go into the Cure song or whatever. And even after the fact, I just remember check out New Dad, and I pulled up their shit, and they had a new album that came out this year, Madra, and it's fucking great. I love it, and just got listening to it so much and all their stuff that I forgot that it was even Cure related, of why I listened to them, And I was like, oh yeah, they're huge Cure fans apparently. So made it that much sweeter once I remembered that. And somewhere pretty early in it too, they just had kind of a rando Just Like Heaven cover pop up or something. That was all right, it's just one of those indie band covering a great song. You can't fuck it up too bad kind of things, But yeah, they really just shine on that album. It's really fucking good. So I totally recommend that one. And they had a couple EPs and singles before that too that are all really good. So New Dad, I think it's all connected. And female vocals, just cool indie band, And Quivers is hard to say if Cure fans would be into it as much. They're an Aussie indie pop band, kind of like Go-Betweens vibe. They're like where they alternate, they've got songs where you don't really know who's the main vocalist, like guy vocals and then female vocals, and just kind of good power pop kind of stuff. So I'd recommend their newest album, Oyster Cuts. It's very good. The Quivers. Nice. Real Estate was another cool one because they're a band I was aware of for a while and kind of like their early albums and didn't really follow them much after that. But they put out an album this year, Daniel, that was really cool. And it was weird because it kind of caught my ear. That is, again, kind of lighter, poppy stuff. But they almost sounded like early when Fountains of Wayne first came out, and I loved those first couple Fountains of Wayne ones before they started to get kind of goofy, with the Stacey's mom shit. And
you told me that was your jam, man.
Yeah, you said that was your favorite song ever.
You're really cool on like the statutory rape stuff. That shit is totally cool.
Yeah. Well, their first few albums are great. So,
you're like,
whatever. So yeah, they remind me of cool Fountains of Wayne stuff, and I recommend that album for sure. And Camera Obscura is another great band that hadn't put out an album in a while. They put out a new one this year that was really cool. So lots of good power poppy female vocal stuff. So, but again, I like my play mix of singles. There's a lot of just great one-offs where I didn't really love the album, but the singles were great. That Waxahachie one with MJ Linderman, who's from Nashville. He's been blowing up real big, and that song is really fucking good. So,
yeah, and then also like actors from Vancouver. They got a couple of great singles this year too. Object of Desire, and their full length will be out next year. And I got to see them play some new songs a couple weeks ago actually. So. Excited,
cool.
because the couple singles they dropped that are gonna be on that record are really good. So it's giving me high hopes for like.
I completely forgot that I had listened to it I think twice and it was really good, but I forgot to go back and listen to it again. Was Godspeed You Black Emperor dropped a new album this year. It's called No Title as of 13 February 2024, 28,340 dead, which is the name of the album. So, I enjoy a good Godspeed You album when I'm in the type of mood I need to be in for that. So
that's definitely one of those.
Cool. Well, a lot of good shit for sure. It was pretty solid year.
I mean, that Cult Leader EP was so good. Am I right?
Was that on anyone's list? Gotta sprinkle those into the playlist too, It's like, that Henson single that came out earlier in the year, that was chopping everybody's tips. So lots of good stuff. We'll post any kind of playlist we get and a list of these recommendations too. Maybe some kind of little photo collage of album covers if I have time.
There you go.
Yeah. And and we're not gonna really go into like TVs and movies, but I'm crazy if we don't shout out like Dune 2 and this current Dune series, which is so good.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna wait till it's all out and watch it all together. Because if not, I won't.
Oh, good.
I don't work like that. I kind of have to binge it, or else I won't.
Right. Yeah.
I'll watch
what's
like 2
up with
episodes.
That? What's it on? The series thing?
That one's on Max, HBO. It's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So it's like a prequel series, kind of, really giving you more background to the world of the what happens in the movies, but it's like way earlier, and it is just so good.
Cool. Do you guys have an absolute like movie of the year then?
I'm gonna be honest. Movies were kind of like lackluster this year. I mean, I literally saw like 3 movies, that I liked, and it was more TV shows. Like the second Dune, Deadpool and Wolverine was just a comic book
that was fun.
Wet dream.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then I'm such a sucker for the Bad Boys movies. And so whatever. Bad Boys Will Never Die. It was very entertaining and fun. I love me some Bad Boys movies, but TV was more for me this year. Between Dune, The Penguin, Sugar, grotesquerie. Those About to Die. Fallout was amazing. Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Donald Glover. I mean, there was a lot of great TV, and I feel like Hollywood is putting more time and energy into series now than they are movies because every movie is just a fucking remake, a reboot,
Yeah,
like like the Crow bullshit, and like it's just like there's no good original ideas, and I think the good original ideas or the adaptations of things need to be told in longer format. Like even though in the Lord of the Rings, the second season of Rings of Power was great also, and I just feel like Hollywood is moving in that vein because I feel like all the good stuff, the good writing, the good directing, the good casting is all happening in those shows. I mean, Colin Farrell and the Penguin was unbelievable. But it's like if they did that as a movie, you couldn't have told that much story. It would have missed out. They would have tried to shove shit in. And I think that's where maybe it's getting lost right now. But then again, we did have a writer's strike, so it's could have been a slower move because shows were getting worked on for a longer amount of time than probably the movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. There were a bunch of good horror movies this year. I thought that I saw. There was Heretic and Longlegs. There was a movie In a Violent Nature that was like where you're basically it's a point of view of the killer, and you're basically following him through the whole movie.
That's cool.
And there's a lot of fucking gnarly deaths in that. And then another movie that my wife and I really liked this year was Cuckoo, which is a 17-year-old girl is forced to move with her family in a resort where things may not be what they seem. And they move into like the German Alps or something like that. So it's really, really fucked up movie, but I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that's about it for as far as movies go. Horror knocked it out of the park this year, I think, but wasn't really a lot for anything else that I can think of that I was just like, I got to go see that. Besides Dune,
the only thing I would shout out was just this last weekend. I saw this. I'm not big on animated stuff normally, even, but there's technically a French animated thing. I think about this cat called Flo. Have you heard about this one?
No.
It's like a cat and a flood comes and just fucking wipes everything out, which was a little too soon here in Nashville, maybe. But I know. I was gonna say it was a hell of a flood.
There's some PTSD.
There's no dialogue. They don't talk or anything, so it's just.
Oh God!
It's pretty short, but it's like really cool because then it encounters like a dog and shit, and like the back of the dogs are chasing it, and so it's kind of about, I guess, the overall kind of huge message is all these different kind of species getting stranded at various moments in times, and they help each other and don't eat each other and shit, but it's fucking weird. It's just French enough where it was like, okay, and a couple of parts. The animation's kind of shitty, so it's not really like great. I mean, the backgrounds all look good, but the actual animation is just kind of intentionally not over the top detailed. So it was kind of cute and cool, so not much to spoil from there, but it's good.
There's that Wild Robot movie that I gotta see. It's like the animated
I heard about that one
too. I heard you're gonna cry a lot though, so great.
That's so neat. Well, very cool. I guess we can wrap on that note then, unless there's anything else, and other than just giant shout outs to the good people out there for sticking with us for another year, and saying thanks so much if you contributed or listened or followed along in the book. Anything along those lines, we appreciate it, and hope people enjoyed the podcast for another year, and hope we can keep it rolling again. And thank you guys so much for keeping this rolling here with me. I really appreciate it, Chaz, Antonio.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Another fun one, and we got to fucking celebrate a Cure album for once together in real time. It's crazy to think that this hasn't happened yet, but this is pretty milestone for that, at least, of like an actual new album coming out in the time of making this podcast. So very good and very fun to celebrate it with you guys as much as the tours and stuff. So hopefully we can all get together for a show again next year. That would be cool. So start saving our money now and meet you on the other side. But and likewise to everyone out there. And I hope everybody has their recommendations and highs and lows. Let us know if we missed anything that you thought was a high point or giant disappointment from The Cure. I guess we didn't really talk about any disappointments, but I feel like everything they did do this year worked, but it was just a little dry in the beginning. But yeah, let us know if anybody has any highlights that we missed, and if they have albums and stuff they want to share too. This is the time to share the wealth, you know.
Sure,
it's all about.
And I feel like I can't go without shouting out, my favorite, my favorite other podcasts too,
Oh yeah, podcasts. What do you say?
I know. Well, just,
what is your top podcast?
Got to give our boy Scott and the So I Like Digest a shout out.
Yeah.
Through all the craziness in the Star Wars universe this year, it was very, very much needed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I pretty much only listen to like 3 podcasts. So
yeah,
that Red River, and this sexy guy below me in this box's excommunication station.
Yeah, it's funny. My most consistent 2 podcasts is Sargalak and Excommunication Station.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Any podcasts you want to shout out, Chaz?
Let's see. I listened to Go Home Bible, You're Drunk is one of my favorites. It's breaking down the Bible in a funny way. I know that sounds so interesting to so many people. Knowledge Fight it has been one of the podcasts I've listened to since I started listening to podcasts, like back in 2016 or 17, which is they break down Alex Jones and his crazy fucked up world. And then let's see, a new one this year was Weird Little Guys, which is this woman Molly Lambert talks about weird white supremacists and like weird little guys, like and like how weird and creepy and stupid they are. And and then 420 Day Fiance is one of my favorites. I watch 90 Day Fiance every week, multiple versions of it, and they break it down while smoking weed, which is always fun to me.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. We'll leave it there and see you in the new year. So signing off. Fuck off 2024. We'll see you in the next room. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great New Year's out there. You guys, Chaz, Antonio, all the listeners, be safe out there. Wonderful holiday, whatever you're celebrating or not celebrating. And hope your new year wraps up smoothly and starts out wonderfully. So we'll see you with some covers coming up soon.
There you go.
Ease our way into the year. Tradition.
Right.
Oh, take it easy and talk hard.
Laters.
Something like that. Well, all right, can't officially sign off without another salute to you guys, the listeners. Thank you so much for making it another fun and fulfilling year here at the Holy Hour and helping me keep this thing afloat. And a special thank you to everybody that checked in on me and my family during the hurricane this year. We're still trying to fully process what a weird and terrifying and insane experience all that was, but you guys were just the sweetest through the whole thing, offering up actual help and support. And even just your thoughts and concerns really meant the world to us as a family. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. As well as the Patreon. You guys, you are the lifeline to this machine. The giant end of the year thank you and high five goes out to Donna, Craig, Jeff Hilton, Jeff Cortland Jones, Sue, John, Alan, Allison, Dion, Namicio, Matt Ford, Tom Burns, Letty, John Roberts, Jason, Tony, Ben, Matt Fisher, Danny, Coulter, Tom Johnson, Francisco, Arno, Chip, Amber, Nicholas, Chad, Shirley, Jason Hall, Steve, Mara, Caroline, and Brian, and David, who runs the Obsessive Geek on Etsy. Probably too late to order stuff and get it in time for Christmas, but if you got a few extra bucks as a gift, I recommend you go on over to the shop. Check out these 3D printed dioramas he has for sale over there. He recreated the 3 Imaginary Boys and Boys Don't Cry and Songs of a Lost World album covers and heaps of other cool little projects over there. So go check it out, The Obsessive Geek on Etsy. As we mentioned, Scott Kruger is co-host of the Sarlacc Digest, the best Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. It airs every Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Pacific time on YouTube and Facebook. The show is tons of fun. They're going through the Skeleton Crew that stars Jude Law currently, really sizing up all the cool little details you may have missed and providing excellent predictions of what might be around the corner. Check it out, the Sarlacc Digest. Kate is over at CureThreads.com still, and she is serving up many lovely Cure-inspired designs and products for you to go buy yourself something that you really wanted for Christmas. And don't forget to pre-order that Just Like Heaven Cure tribute album on American Laundromat Records as well. Use the code CureThreads to get 10% off at checkout, and you can do that at alr-music.com. Kate designed the new album cover and it looks amazing. Dana says check out her animation and illustration work over at graphics.tv. That's graphics with an X.tv, and reach out to her if your business or project could use a little facelift. Tim is part of New Waterloo, an independent and hospitality development design and management company that owns and operates hotels and restaurants all over the U.S. and beyond. Find their many locations at newwaterloo.com. Tanya would like to spread awareness of 988lifeline.org, a suicide and crisis hotline with over 200 crisis call centers located all over the U.S., available 24/7, offering free and confidential support for people in distress. And holidays are tough, so please remember that 988 Lifeline is out there if you need the extra support. Lisa recommends you visit Dickens up in Calgary, Canada if you want to catch a great live show or event. They've got bands, trivia nights, dance nights, drag shows, and you can check their full listing of events at dickensyyc.com. And I recommend you follow Jessica's advice and keep an eye on clubnevermore.com down in Little Rock, Arkansas. They're going through some changes there, but looks like events are still coming out under the name, so keep an eye on that website so you don't miss out if you want to get your goth on this holiday season. And of course, don't forget Chaz's other podcast, The Excommunication Station, where he and Chrissy take on the evangelical church. And you can find their podcast everywhere you stream podcasts. Go get yourself an extra dose of Chaz this holiday season. And of course, check out our official Holy Hour merch store to get all the cool Holy Hour designs on t-shirts and mugs and everything you can imagine. You can find the link on our YouTube page, Facebook page, or on Instagram. You can always email me, gavinconnor@gmail.com. And don't forget to go on over to patreon.com/The Holy Hour Podcast to hear the bonus mini episode of those Robert interviews I'll be talking about. And that'll be free to everyone. You don't have to be a member, so you can go on over and check it out. See if you catch all the little details too, and we'll rehash all the cool little nuggets that Robert talked about. But either way, we'll be back in 2 weeks with a whole new episode. We'll do some Cure covers, kicking off 2025. Have a lovely holiday out there. Try to take it easy. Go give Songs of a Lost World a couple hundred more spins, and talk hard. Happy New Year.